What up? It's your boy Dave B. Watching DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And you know what I'm saying, we're gonna break down Moon being in Aries, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could talk a little bit about the Moon being in Pisces. Like, for the most part, you know, that created a little bit of a sextile. So with all this pressure that's coming from Capricorn season, you know, Pisces Moon should have kind of buttered you up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Buttered you up a little bit so that you could feel somewhat of a vibe where you can kind of get your dreams, you know, looking a little more sophisticated, or in a sense, like a lot of the harshness reality of what you were trying to construct. The Moon being in Pisces might have gave you a little bit of a, you know, it's not like it made everything kind of go away, but it might have put you at least in a flow state to where you start to understand some of the inner workings behind why certain things aren't necessarily working at the moment. For instance, like, there are certain emotional states that you just in, certain belief systems that you might still be in that don't coincide with the life you're trying to build for yourself. It won't work. You too doubtful in this area. You don't have enough faith in this other area. You know, this is a delusion you in, aka based upon you feeling like something is going to be a certain way before actually going through the reality of it and experiencing it. So that sextile could have brought out a lot of those kind of epiphanies, you know what I'm saying, to the point where now with the Moon in Aries, if you did that energy properly, now you have a springboard. You know exactly what to spark and bring it to awareness, or at least, you know, Pisces brings the emotional awareness, but now with Aries, you can actually see it right in front of you. And it's like, oh shit, that's what I've been actually looking for. And this should provide you with somewhat of a sense of direction. So we're dealing with a lot of Mars in the sky at the moment. And I say that because Mars being in Capricorn, you know, is exalted. So Mars is already in an excitable space where it just wants to get things done. And if you direct it in the right areas, you can make progress. But the progress isn't so much about how much you can do. It's about how you can create systems and ways of going about things that are more efficient. So, you know, yeah, you can easily burn yourself out. But the key to not burn yourself out is to think in terms of what mechanisms can I put in place in order to kind of do what I need to do that are sustainable. You know what I'm saying? You want to create sustainable systems of operation. And these could be deep as, goddamn, man, people always try, man, I ain't even gonna get mad. You know what I'm saying? These could be just, you know, modes of operation, you know what I'm saying? Mentalities and things of that nature, mind states, emotional states that are more suited for handling and dealing with what it is that you're trying to actually do with your time and your space. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing. A lot of times negative emotions and things of that nature take us out of our zones. And so we end up putting a lot of things on our schedule, having a lot of things clutter in our space that prevent us from actually achieving our goals. And, you know, it's a lot of things in this world that'll distract you from that. So, you know, part of this Moon in Aries, right? You can use that aggressive in nature of Aries to start to fight and go to war with certain things that are just taking, you know, things that you can deem as distractions, things that's just not relevant to what your goal is at hand. Like, no, I can't sit here and dwell on what I can't do, can't control. I can't sit here and dwell on what's not actually producing me a product. I can't sit here and dwell on things that's, again, wallowing in mistakes, you know what I'm saying, past mistakes, and even, you know what I'm saying, even your current situation. You got to look at your current situation as something that you can shape and form into something that you can stand on. And that's the only way you're really going to get to the next step. If you're not finding ways to encourage yourself through hard work. And see, when I say hard work, I'm not talking about what the third dimension might deem as hard work. You know what I'm saying? The third dimension might have you thinking hard work is like, you know, blood, sweat, and tears being poured into some kind of bullshit job, or, you know what I'm saying? But again, even if you're working a job at the moment, you need to find ways in that job to create that haven for yourself, to create that time and space, whether it's you're working to have enough money to invest back into yourself, or you're finding things at work that can enhance your abilities so that you can be able to kind of sustain yourself outside of that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, we was talking about this in the Each One Teach One class. You know, when you sign up for a job, it's like you sign a contract, and not just the contract you sign at orientation. I mean, like, there's a behind the scenes contract you sign, because there are certain things that the outside world, the external world can teach you about structure. See, if we are looking at the shadow government, that's what they've done. They created a structure. So when you're moving about in society, right? And yeah, we all got these dreams and goals, and a lot of them don't have shit to do with nothing that's built around us. But while we're in this world, operating within the society, there's just certain ways that it works that we have to be privy to. And you would be a fool to neglect or remain ignorant to how the world works. You know what I'm saying? That's not real life. These things aren't natural, but this is how the world itself has been built around us. So it's a matter of understanding that balance. And when you start to look at life like that, you can enjoy your life a little bit more, understanding that, okay, on some level, I wasn't structuring my life in a way that coincided with society and the way it's ran. So me being stuck at this job at the moment, or having to go to this job at the moment, there's things I can learn about how to structure myself and how to be able to create a sustainable living within the society and things of that nature. And you know, that's kind of a different conversation. I don't want to get too deep into that. That needs its own video. But that's kind of like right now, that's the balance that we're going to have to be going through, or that we're currently going through. See, the moon being in Aries don't give a fuck about structure that much. You know, Saturn falls in Aries. So when you look at it, like, that's why Aries even move the way they do. They like, what is structure? If I get up and get inspired, I'm finna do that shit right now today. I'm not finna wait till the right time. I'm not finna strategize. I'm not finna consult. I'm not finna, you know what I'm saying, structure this out. I'm just finna jump into it with my passion and let that go. That's how we feel at the moment. That's what we're reacting and responding to. However, how we're seeing things though, we're seeing the restrictions. We're seeing where things need to be kind of planned out. We're seeing where the execution matters more than the passion. So there's a friction that's going on where we have to learn either how to structure our passions, how to passionately put, or how to use our passion to get us in a position. And you know what I'm saying, when we talk about good seeds, bad seeds, of course, there's many different ways to do this. You got to find your own way based upon your alignments and things of that nature. But these are the principles we're going to be dealing with. We're going to be dealing with our passions, how we feel, where we feel we should be, who we are as far as our identity, and then what we're known for, what we want to be known for. The sun is our wants. So our sun, we want to be in a certain position at the moment. We want to be at a certain status level. We want to structure certain things out and be secured in certain ways. We want to have access to resources that we can use. But what we need at the moment is a sense of self, a passion, an intention for ourselves, and what we want to do as far as a direction, a vision that we see that can propel us, that can motivate us to put things into structure. So again, you can easily fall into the trap of just being frustrated and trying to destroy a bunch of things. But see, if your heart is in the right place, it might be time to go to war with certain things that's just not contributing to what you're trying to build. So that's on one end of it. But on the other end of it is, okay, how do I take my passion and make it look a little more like business? How do I make my passion look more like a sustainable, functional business where I can walk into the room and now what I'm passionate about on some level can now start to look like what I want to be known for? You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of think in those terms. Depending on where you at in life, it's going to determine what angle you kind of looking from. But we're dealing with identity and status. Things that can kind of sometimes cause friction, because what might be a good business status might be a terrible personal philosophy, or a terrible personal status, a terrible personal where you want to be professionally might not allow a lot of space for your individuality in a way that you feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? What you're passionate about might not make you money. What you know what I'm saying? Like, these are different things that might just come with going with one or the other. But you know, through the learning process, through the friction, you can easily kind of learn how to balance both. You know what I'm saying? You can start to learn how to balance both. And then you can have some kind of, you know, because when you balance both of them, it's going to start to look like your passion, because, you know, the moon motivates the sun. So it's going to look like your passion is what's fueling you to broadcast yourself in a certain way. And if you do it correctly, the authenticities that's coming from the moon in Aries, the rawness that ends up being translated into something structured in a system, you start to build a reputation and develop a status around you being authentic and you being genuine. So right now you want to really just connect to self and understand what it is you are passionate about, what you want to see yourself in as far as the position and what you're trying to build for yourself. Anything that's looking like you attached to past mistakes, and so now it's like how you express yourself look like a chip on your shoulder, or look like you trying to hide certain vulnerabilities at the moment, that's not gonna fly. You know what I'm saying? Right now we have to kind of, in a way, not necessarily wear your heart on your sleeve, but that's kind of how Aries get down. You know what I'm saying? Aries are highly emotional, and you see it. You know what I'm saying? It might look like aggression and passion, but all that is just being emotional. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing wrong with being emotional. We all got emotions. It's about how they're displayed, and finding a way that you, as your character, needs to display those emotions and things of that nature, because we all have them. There's going to be someone who feels you, right? And you shouldn't be, I don't believe you should be ashamed of feeling how you feel. Sometimes feelings don't do nothing for you though, productive wise. So we have to be careful that we're not just indulging in frustration or any emotion that's like just not taking us anywhere. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna indulge in an emotion, at least know where it's taking you. At least have that backness supported by you truly feeling that way and not just being triggered. You know what I'm saying? Because again, certain things could trigger you, and then now you're acting aggressively out of you know, again, no clear direction. You're allowing something externally to get you in a certain space that when you sober up and you get out of that emotion, you realize that emotion ain't you'll be like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean to burn this bridge. Oh damn, I done blew the whole house down. And that's how a lot of mistakes happen. You know what I'm saying? So right now, we could be prone to mistakes just based upon us going a little too far with how we feel and letting our feelings kind of dictate what we build. We have to still be practical minded. We still have to understand that, look, because see, the moon is powerful, but the moon by itself in Aries, Capricorn got the sun, Mercury, and Mars. So at the end of it all, we need to be thinking more practically about how we can structure what we feel. We need to be allowing our actions, we need to be putting our actions towards actually building and expressing ourselves, not from that emotional passion, but taking that passion that we have internally and figuring out how to make it a little more stoic, a little more professional, a little more like a resource, you know what I'm saying? So that we can broadcast in the way that we're supposed to broadcast, you know what I'm saying? And then we need to also be applying our passion, so directing that energy towards something constructive and productive, not allowing that energy to just build up inside you, and now you're burning bridges that are going to come back to haunt you in a way because, you know, it wasn't planned out, it wasn't thought out well. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things can come back to bite you just based upon you being gung-ho in your energy and thinking, yeah, that's the way. Nah, just because you feel some kind of way, that might not be the best option. That might not be the best route to take to get what you want. And what we want right now is some form of stability, some form of structure. Now, the moon is also going to in conjunct, well, no, not in conjunct because it's right next to that Taurus energy. The moon is also going to, damn, what is the, so it's going to conjunct, we already talked about Chiron a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So kind of like being triggered by your mistakes in a way. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be right there with your mistakes. But it's also, what else is in your North Node? That's what it was. So starting to, you might still be uncomfortable with your North Node because there ain't no matter. But see, here's the thing though. This moon in Aries could switch gears. So before, right, because I ain't gonna lie, the previous moon cycles, like coming off the new moon, going into the moon in Aquarius, there might have been certain things that were kind of tough pills to swallow. Certain things about reality that kind of maybe had you down, right? And not down as in necessarily depressed, but you know, the weight of all these emotions and the weight of what you actually still have to do, in the, you know, just the natural energy that comes with Capricorn, that seriousness, that coldness, you know what I'm saying, having to kind of be a lot more focused on, again, what's real and seeing reality. You know, sometimes those are tough pills to swallow. So the energy might have been a little lethargic. It might have been a little hard to push through that. You might have had to really grind and shit like that. But the moon in Aries now is kind of a switch of gears. This could give you a little bit more of an enlightened feeling, a little more of a passionate, confident feeling towards what it is that you're building and constructing for yourself. That's adding a little bit of fuel, because we've been dealing with heavy earth Earth transits, you know what I'm saying? Because we got two stelliums going on. Well, not really stelliums, but I mean, we do got the stellium in Capricorn at the moment, but we also got like, but then it's trining the energy in Taurus, you know what I'm saying? It's trining Jupiter. So our experiences are slow and fixated, you know what I'm saying? Our experiences are Taurus-like at the moment. And then we had, you know, we got Uranus in Taurus, so we have the gift of change, but change is highly uncomfortable. So everything changes so rapidly, but us having to experience it in a slow grinding sensation. So a lot of that is causing a lot of frustration, a lot of stress at times, you know what I'm saying? Just because, you know, it's a lot of things we kind of want to do in one day, but this earth energy is forcing us to take our time with it. So it's like, damn, I can't even just, you know, I see what I got to do, but I can't quite do it as fast as I want. You know what I'm saying? Even down to like maybe even saving money. You know what I'm saying? I just can't save as fast as I want to. But you kind of have to sit back and say, well, at least I can save a little bit something. And then you have to commit to the blueprint. You have to commit to a plan. And that's all Capricorn energy, committing to what you set as a goal in the plan. So it's like, okay, if the plan is me saving up, I can't just do it in one day. There's a certain level of acceptance you have to have with just like how time got to work. And see, this is why Saturn falls in Aries, because Aries gonna want it right now. Aries gonna want it yesterday. But Saturn is like, no, you know what I'm saying? You can't have it yesterday. You have to wait next week. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. And so, you know, what Aries might end up wasting. See, Saturn and Aries, high key, y'all can end up wasting time because you feel like what you want to do, you got to wait for it. But you don't realize in the in-between time there's things to do to prepare for that. You know what I'm saying? Aries, you know what I'm saying? Saturn and Aries could be the type to wait to the last minute to do everything because they actually do have the ability to do that. They, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to putting things in structure, when they're in the mode, when they're in the zone, they got it. But, you know, it's kind of like being really good at something. When you know you're good at something, you'll procrastinate until the very last minute and cause unnecessary stress on yourself to, you know, get it one and done. But in that space, you end up making certain mistakes. You end up being unprepared in certain areas that you couldn't predict. And all of that is because in that planet area, you use that idle time to kind of do something else, to spark another imagination or spark another passion, when that very same thing that you waiting a week to get to, you still needed to focus in that space. You still needed to put things into place. You still needed to, you know, figure this out, be present in this area. You know what I'm saying? Aries will get bored. Aries energy will get bored, and then they'll take that perfect planning time and use it for procrastination. There was another word I was going to use. They'll use that planning time and oh, that's what it did. They'll turn that planning time into, in their mind, idle time, and that idle time will be spent trying to spark something else, or, you know, just doing something that's just not really relevant to what it is that they were trying to build, that they have to wait for. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't really believe in waiting. So when they feel it, when they see they gotta wait, they're like, oh, I gotta wait. All right, that must mean it's idle time. And that's not idle time. That's not time to spark a new thing. That's time to sit back and analyze something. And then if you're gonna spark something new within the thing you're building. Don't try to start something completely new. And again, that's easier said than done, especially for a Saturn and Aries. But this is why, even when you look at that generation of Saturn and Aries people, their whole demeanor or their whole attitude towards life do be having many different gifts and talents, many different things they got going on that could potentially lead to revenue streams. But, you know, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if only if they are focused enough to stay within that space, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing. You can have so many different passions, so many different gifts and talents that it's hard for you to narrow it down, and you don't spend enough time in anything to get the full maximum return on investment, basically. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the issue with Saturn and Aries. But again, one thing, even though I'm saying it like it's an issue in a lot of ways, this is what makes y'all resilient. This is what makes y'all trailblazers in the way you structure life. This makes you unique, you know what I'm saying? Because when that Saturn return comes, y'all gonna be the ones everybody look to create something new as far as how we gonna structure life and be in reality anyway. So a lot of that energy that might have led y'all to be kind of like chasing y'all tail in a sense, a lot of that's going to come in handy. Y'all going to be able to kind of bust out with a whole new way of doing things that people who aren't familiar with kind of thinking outside the box, they ain't going to be able to keep up with how reality's finna be when Saturn gets into Aries. You know what I'm saying? But right now with Saturn and Pisces, you know, we need to dominate our emotional state. We need to structure our emotional state so that we can maintain a proper belief system throughout trials and tribulations, so that we can actually build our dream. Because that's the number one thing that kills your dream, being too wishy-washy. So it's like, you know, a dream is just a bunch of water. So when you're going about your life and stuff like that, and you got these big dreams, you know, you can't allow everything to kind of taint your water. You're going to have to create some kind of internal purification system, some kind of filter system, so that you can maybe still take advice and still be locked in to still be aware in the present, so that you add new elements and things of that nature, aka add new water flows. But you don't want to, you gotta know how to filtrate your system so that you don't get contaminated, because contaminated water, you know what I'm saying, that's always going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's just part of the game though. But that's why, like, Saturn, all Saturn and Pisces natives and things of that nature. And then while we're going through Saturn and Pisces, it's about creating some form of an internal filtration system so that you don't have to be swept up by every single thing you feel. You won't ever get anywhere in life being too emotionally open or gullible, or allowing your emotions to be swept this way. Again, I'll say it in a way of more so allowing your emotions to be contaminated to the point where again, you can't be locked into reality, because things are contaminating your water and shit like that. Because you got to think, your whole way of looking at reality is based upon your emotional state. So if it's in Pisces, mutable water, you are susceptible to being distracted by your own self-doubt, bouts of depression, anything that throws your emotional state off. You're bound to start to kind of like throw reality out the window, or develop a reality around it that might not actually be beneficial. Sometimes you can go through a hard time, and that sense of kind of emotional distress will lead to you actually making positive changes. That's a possibility. But, you know what I'm saying, on the other end of things, you know what I'm saying, if you're an individual who, you know, the second certain things start to go sour, you start to give up, and you start to develop these emotional, you know, mental illnesses based upon just you being in emotional distress. Then that lets you know, okay, well, if I'm trying to fix my life, I need to start to develop a filtration system so I can protect myself from feeling all kinds of ways. And when I say protection, again, I'm not talking about what a lot of individuals might deem as protection, which is really just distracting themselves through escapism or through whatever kind of pleasure they can get, you know what I'm saying, or things of that nature. I'm not talking about that kind of distraction or that type of protection. That ain't really protection. That's you running from something. So, you know, that's a different conversation as well altogether, because a lot of people do that too. Try to mask pain, try to use different things in the external to soothe and this is where Saturn and Pisces go sour as well, because then it becomes the trope of Piscean energy, which is that escapism that leads to drug abuse, that leads to alcoholism, that leads to, you know, addictions that cause other problems in life and things of that nature, and cause havoc on your health. Because depending on where you got Saturn at in Pisces, the opposite energy of that with Virgo, you know what I'm saying, that's where, again, health problems could develop and shit like that. And you got to be very aware, because when you're not taking care of what needs to be done with that Saturn energy, wherever that you know, both the opposite energy and probably where you got Capricorn at and stuff like that, those energies could be afflicted based upon you not actually taking care of your emotional state and not structuring, you know, creating structures around it, you know, constructing your emotional state to the point where it could be useful. You know, and even though you might not be a Capricorn moon, you have to adopt some type of Capricorn-like mechanisms in order to understand, you know, when it comes to your emotions, so that you can withstand some of the harsh realities of things, and be able to kind of stand on your own 2 feet without it afflicting you in a way that causes you know, causes problems, you know what I'm saying, on that type of scale. But you know, getting back to the moon in Aries, so it's going to be conjuncting the North Node. So again, you know, forced to emotionally face your spiritual path, or coming to grips with your spiritual path, passionately acceptance of your spiritual path on the positive end, you know what I'm saying, where you able to emotionally accept what it's going to take, you know what I'm saying, you know what, this is what I'm passionate about, you know what I'm saying. Hopefully you on that tip where it's clear to you now, and you can take that, and that's going to look like, again, that learning process, that friction will be you kind of going through that process of structuring that, you know what I'm saying, putting that into place so that now you can push out a certain energy to get somewhere, you know what I'm saying. Now you can go from point A to point B in that space. Now moon, the moon in Aries is also going to be, let me think, so the moon in Aries, then we go to what, let's go to Taurus, then we got Gemini, then we got Cancer, then we got and remember, this is that quarter point, this is the halfway point of the full moon, or halfway point of the waxing moon. So at this halfway point, again, this is the turning point. This is where, if you have been, you know what I'm saying, that first half, remember, it's like spring and summer. So that spring and summertime, it might have been difficult for you to kind of get with the program, or really the springtime, I should say. It was the springtime, so it was about you birthing things. So a lot of that newness and that new energy, again, that takes a toll on you and stuff like that. But now we're in a space where, as far as the moon cycle goes, we got to experience summer. So right now you need to start to you got to switch gears. You got to jump fully into what it is that you want to manifest for yourself. So use that Aries energy to switch those gears. And again, Aries energy in and of itself is initiating a new way to feel and see. So again, switch how you seeing things too. And then the sun is starting to get real close to Pluto. So we're going through a transformation with how we see things in general. And we're, again, a death when it comes to how we used to act and how we used to behave. That is all kind of encompassed in this energy as well, because the sun is approaching that energy. So we're about to start feeling a little bit more of the Aquarian side, but we're already feeling effects of Pluto. But again, and see, the only if you're feeling highly uncomfortable, let's say you are dealing with certain emotions and things of that nature, let's say you are dealing with certain things that's becoming more and more difficult to accept, then chances are you're trying to resist change. You know what I'm saying? Chances are you're not committing to the transformation. You have to commit to it. You have to understand, like, okay, things will never be the same, and not even have no heavy emotional weight to that. Just acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Things will never be the same. You know what I'm saying? Type stuff. So, you know, on that type of time, you know what I'm saying? I think that was free. She just passed me. So on that type of time, you know what I'm saying, you want to make sure you you want to make that's basically the drill. You know what I'm saying? You want to switch gears and jump into that energy. Let me go ahead and make this U-turn. But as you switch gears and you jump into that energy, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be a lot easier for you to start to make sense out of things. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a lot easier for you to I ain't gonna say a lot easier. Let me not say that. I just said that because I was just rambling. It's not gonna be a lot easier, but it's easier if you just accept it. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to accept it. And part of taking power control is like understanding that the only thing you have power control over is yourself. So if you again, that will make things easier. You know what I'm saying? Accepting that aspect of things. Like, hey, if I'm gonna make a change, it's got to come from me. You know what I'm saying? And letting that lead the way, you know what I'm saying? And not allowing yourself to kind of still be stubborn and stuck in old ways, because that's going to cause a lot more difficult. Whatever you think is difficult in a challenge ain't shit compared to Pluto coming in and knocking you off your ass based upon you trying to think that you trying to hold on to certain things that's just not going to work in the new world. And as we ease into the Aquarius aspect, a lot of what we adjusted to our character for our status is going to need to be communicated and things of that nature. So that's going to be an aspect that we need to pay attention to as well. But let me continue on. So the moon, let me think. Yeah, we was at Gemini, Cancer, Leo. We got Lilith energy, but you know what I'm saying? Again, if you still not doing things because you embarrassed, get the fuck, grow up. You know what I'm saying? You got to grow the fuck up. That's Leo energy. Virgo, you ain't got nothing in Virgo. Libra, nothing in Libra. Nothing in Scorpio, you know what I'm saying? What else? Yeah, nothing in Libra, nothing in Scorpio. Let me think. What's in Sag? Nothing in Sag. Damn, we only got shit in like Capricorn. I might be missing something, but like I'm like, damn, like this shit crazy. Only shit in Capricorn. So yeah, we dealing with big squares in the sky. That's the main thing. You know what I'm saying? Big squares in the sky. And then yeah, you know what I'm saying? Those are the big ones. And then what else? Then we got Moon and no, Capricorn and Aquarius, and then yeah, Pisces, and that's about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the most. That's I think that's all the transits for the most part, as far as the moon goes, as far as what the moon's aligned into. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right now we just need to switch those gears. We need to lock in that way, and we need to make ourselves you know what I'm saying, we have to kind of prepare ourselves, you know what I'm saying, allow yourself to get prepared, and you know, don't get too distracted by anything, you know what I'm saying, at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Right now you have to focus in on what you're trying to build, and you have to lead with that. You know what I'm saying? You have to let that lead the way. You know, don't get caught up in the traps and the tropes of what could have been, what you think should have been, and what, you know, might, you know what I'm saying? Because these different things can confuse you at this moment in time. You know what I'm saying? You can get easily confused, easily turned around based upon you just not understanding certain dynamics of the present. You know what I'm saying? You just, and what I mean by that is, you know, right now it's the winter time, so it's kind of like, man, you got to buckle in and lock in. You know what I'm saying? Because see, that's the problem with the Gregorian calendar and like how they got shit set up. Because again, you thought it was New Year's, so a lot of people was like, wow, you know, celebrated on the 1st of January, and they looking crazy now. You know what I'm saying? We still ain't, we in the thick of it. Bitch, you better get in the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? You thinking, oh, it's a new year, I can start slow. And you know, people like, man, I walked into the new year stressed. I'm like, yeah, bitch, because it ain't the end. This shit, we it's the last leg. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at any race, like I ran track in high school, if you look at like a 4x4 or a one, you know what I'm saying, when you do the relay races, they'll tell you that last leg is the that's got to be the fastest person. The last leg always got to be, well, really it's the third leg, but that last leg got to be able to bring it home. You know what I'm saying? And so right now you got to think like, you got to be able to bring it home. You know what I'm saying? And bring it to the thing. And so this is like kind of that last display of energy. We got to burst out. We got to make something of ourselves so that we can stand on something. You know what I'm saying? Because again, what they say, you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. And it's like right now, it's just highly important for us to be able to stand on our own too. You know what I'm saying? Based upon us actually, yeah, stand on your own too. And you already know that's Capricorn energy. That's them knees, them kneecaps. You know what I'm saying? So stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Try to stay warm. Only way you can stay warm though is keep that passion rolling. Much love. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.